I'm in my static caravan at the minute, but I was asked to cover the Christmas witches, so we're going to start with La Befana. Now, La Befana is one of several witches linked to Christmas, Yuletide and the season of giving around the winter solstice period. And in Italy, on the eve of the Epiphany, La Befana brings gifts to the children in stockings, usually sweets, and some of those sweets are now made to resemble coal. And the eve of the Epiphany is obviously the 12th night. And La Befana is linked to figures in mythology from way before Christianity, but I'll cover that in a minute, because the main story that is talked about La Befana involves Jesus. And now La Befana is a witch. She's known to travel across the night sky on a broom, not a sleigh, going down the chimneys and delivering gifts to well-behaved children, and sticks and coal to children who were less than well-behaved, shall we say. In other stories, she rides a donkey. Now, a lot of the legends report that La Befana had lost her own child. However, in every story, there's a similar pattern that goes on. So, La Befana's busy cleaning. In some stories, she's inside the house. In other stories, she's outside the house. And three strange men, dressed in exotic clothing, as far as La Befana was concerned, came up to her and asked for directions. And naturally, they're following the North Star. So, the three wise men, dressed very exotic, turn up at her house, interrupt the cleaning, and in the end ask if she wants to go with them to chase down this North Star and welcome in the birth of baby Jesus. At first, La Befana's like, I'm not going anywhere with three strange men. I've got cleaning to do. Not happening. And she carries on with the cleaning after sending them on the way. And in most of the stories, she's fed them first and let them refresh themselves after the journey before they go on to the next leg. So she sends them on her way, and she sat there that evening and she said, I don't know if I made the right decision. And then all these rumours start to hit her from around the town about this birth of the Christ child. And La Befana's like, I definitely made the wrong decision. So she tries to chase them down on a broom, and she doesn't know where the wise men have gone at all. So she goes in and out of every chimney, checking for the baby Jesus, trying to find the Christ child that she wants to welcome in. And in some of the legends, she's got a gift with her, because she's obviously seen the gifts that the wise men were carrying and wanted to present her own gift as well. And it's a doll that she's made in the past. In some stories, it was a doll that her own child had that she lost. And in other stories, it's one that she just has lying around that she decides to gift instead. And obviously, children in Italy wake up on the Epiphany to the sweets in stockings from La Befana. And before she leaves, she sweeps the floor just to give it a good clean, clear out all that negative energy before the new year. And now, before they go to sleep, the children also leave out snacks for La Befana. And it's usually wine, dates, figs and honey. And that is important to remember, because I'll get back to that in a minute as well. In some stories, La Befana is a crone. Well, in most of the stories, she's that crone energy, the image of the wise woman. So we've got the three wise men and we've got the wise woman. And in other stories, she's obviously depicted much younger. Now, there's also links to a pre-Roman goddess called Strenia. And the goddess Strenia was part of the Sabine culture, which was eventually absorbed by ancient Rome. And there's a lot of theories about the origins of the Sabine culture and obviously the demise of their civilization. But I won't get into that on this video. Now, Strenia was a New Year goddess, and the Sabine culture celebrated New Year in spring, which tends to make more sense really when you think about it. And part of that practice was processions that led up to the wise women who represented Strenia. And these wise women would then present gifts to the priestesses of Sabine. Now, Strenia represents fertility, motherhood, childbirth. She's a protector of children. Like La Befana was eventually called the mother of children because, I mean, this woman spent over 2,000 years searching for the baby Jesus every December. That's dedication for you. And Strenia also has links to dates, figs, honey, verbena, laurel and coal. And laurel branches were carried on that procession that led to the wise women. And they have a link to cleansing the energy for the new year. However, in the Sabine culture, coal and sticks were actually seen as positive gifts to be left. They represented fertility, the warmth of a hearth, a warm, comfortable home. And that community that all gathers, that family bond that gathers around the fire in the cold, dark months. It represented the fire element of being a fertility goddess, a fire goddess. So coal didn't always have such negative connotations. So the strong links that are going back there to pre-Roman times when it comes to La Befana. And you can't fail to also notice the links to Santa coming down the chimney bringing gifts. Gifts for good children, coal for naughty children. And a lot of these ancient stories all cross over and tie into each other quite nicely. However, La Befana herself is actually older and predates Santa. And children are obviously now going to recognise La Befana from the Santa Claus movie, the third one was it, I think, where she saved Christmas, well, helped save Santa and Christmas. And naturally, there's several Italian movies that mention La Befana and bring her to life too. And in January, in Italy, there's lots of different varied La Befana celebrations that take place. Stalls popping up everywhere, covered in chrome witches that you can buy. I actually have a gorgeous one at home, and I wish I'd have waited to do this video then, because I'd have been able to show it to you, because she is lovely. She's a little chrome witch, and she's my little La Befana, my Christmas witch. And obviously the stockings get sold all over the place, so that you can take them home, pin them up, and you can wake up to La Befana goodies on the Epiphany. However, in Piazza Navona in Rome, there's a superstition that at midnight, just as the clock strikes to turn into the Epiphany, the spirit of La Befana can be seen appearing in a window. In northern Italy, however, it is quite common for them to burn an effigy, a puppet of La Befana, to welcome in good luck and to clear out any negative energies. The poem La Befana Vien di Notte, the witch comes by night, describes La Befana as wearing tattered and torn shoes, dressed in traditional Roman clothing, and refers to her as the Christmas witch. A 19th century poet, Giuseppe Gioacchino, Belli, wrote about the feast of La Befana, and he actually referred to it as an ancient Roman festival. And to go with this play, Ode to La Befana, specially composed music, and this specially composed music gets played at the Piazza Navona Festival each year. Urbania, the official home of La Befana, hosts a festival every year, and the festival runs between the 2nd and 6th of January. And Venice also hosts a festival called Regatta del Befana, commonly known as the Festival of the Witches. And this is where women dress as witches, as La Befana, and they race gondolas to the Rialto Bridge. And this is one of my favourite ones to watch online. I would absolutely love to go over and see it in person, because it just looks fantastic. And La Befana is one of my favourite Christmas witch stories, shall we say. She's not as spooky as some of the others, so she's quite a friendly one to introduce to children as well, which makes it ideal, really, I guess. She's no different to Santa in the respect that she comes down your chimney and delivers treats, and there's rumours that they don't deliver to naughty children. So it's a story that I don't mind introducing younger children to. So this is why we've started with La Befana. It's a nice one to dip our toes in with.